Have you ever found yourself lying awake at night, your mind running in circles, unable to stop thinking? Overthinking is something many of us experience. It's when our mind replays past events, worries about the future, or fixates on problems. It's like being stuck in a mental loop that just keeps going. Sometimes, overthinking is triggered by stress or worry. We get stuck trying to solve problems or control situations. Other times, there's no clear reason, it just happens. Here are a few signs of overthinking. Replaying events, you keep going over the same situation, wondering what you could have done differently. Constant worry, if you're always worried about things going wrong, it might be a sign of overthinking. Perfectionism, trying to make everything perfect can cause us to overanalyze every decision. Stuck in the past, when we can't let go of past mistakes, it feels like watching a bad movie on repeat. Fear of the future, worrying too much about what might happen tomorrow or next week can leave us stressed. Now, how does overthinking affect us? It's more than just a busy mind. Emotionally, it can lead to anxiety or even depression. Constant worrying drains our energy. Physically, it can make it hard to sleep, cause headaches, or leave us feeling exhausted. In daily life, overthinking can make it difficult to focus on work or enjoy time with loved ones. So, what can we do to calm our minds? Do something you love. Engaging in activities like reading, drawing, or learning something new can help shift your focus and relax your mind. Talk to someone. Sharing your thoughts with a trusted friend or family member can help lighten the load and provide a fresh perspective. Exercise. Physical activity can improve your mood. Even a short walk or stretching can release feel-good hormones and help reduce stress. Take a digital break, limit screen time and avoid information overload. Try spending time outdoors or doing something quiet like reading. Practice mindfulness. Simple breathing exercises or meditation can bring calm to a busy mind, even if you only have a few minutes. Lastly, be kind to yourself. You don't need to be perfect or have all the answers. It's okay to take breaks and give yourself a moment to breathe. If overthinking is overwhelming your life, it's okay to seek help. Therapists can provide tools and support to help you manage your thoughts. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, is one approach that can help you reframe your thinking and feel more at peace. Overthinking doesn't have to control your life. Focus on what you enjoy, talk to people who care, and remember to be gentle with yourself. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let it out slowly. You deserve to feel calm and at peace. Sarah sat at her desk. The screen in front of her showed an empty document, the cursor blinking rhythmically, waiting for her to start. She had an important project due in 2 days for work, one that her boss had specifically entrusted to her, but instead of typing away, Sarah found herself mindlessly scrolling through her phone. It wasn't that she didn't want to work on the project. In fact, she'd been thinking about it for days. But each time she sat down, a strange resistance washed over her, making her feel restless, as if there was always something else she needed to do first. Social media, emails, even tidying up the papers on her desk, all distractions she allowed to take her attention away. "I'll just start in 5 minutes," Sarah muttered to herself, tossing her phone down. "I need a mental break before I dive in." 5 minutes became 10, then 20. An hour later, the document remained untouched. Later that evening, after the workday had slipped away, Sarah received a call from her best friend, Maya. She answered with a sigh, plopping down on her couch, feeling the weight of her procrastination on her shoulders. "Hey, Sarah. What's up?" Maya's cheerful voice filled the air. "Not much, just trying to relax after a long day," Sarah replied, though her voice lacked enthusiasm. "Relax? I thought you were working on that big project for your boss. How's it coming along?" Sarah groaned. "Ugh. I haven't started yet. I just couldn't get myself to do it today." Maya paused on the other end. "You haven't started? Sarah, didn't you say the deadline was 2 days away?" "Yeah, I know. But every time I sit down to start, I just don't. I keep telling myself I'll do it later, but then I get distracted, and then the whole day is gone," Sarah confessed. "What is wrong with me? I want to get it done, but I just keep avoiding it." Maya chuckled softly. "Sounds like you've been hit by the procrastination bug." Sarah frowned. "Procrastination? I don't know if that's it. I mean, I know I'm putting it off, but I'm just waiting for the right moment, you know? Like, when I feel ready to really focus." "Sarah, that's exactly what procrastination is," Maya said, her voice warm but firm. "It's not about waiting for the right moment. It's about avoiding the task, even though deep down, you know you need to start. The longer you wait, the harder it gets to dive in." Sarah sat quietly for a moment, digesting her friend's words. "But why am I avoiding it? I'm not lazy. I want to do a good job. So why can't I just start?" Maya's voice softened. "Procrastination is tricky. Sometimes, it's about fear of failing or not doing it perfectly. Other times, it's because the task feels so big and overwhelming that your brain would rather focus on something easier. It tricks you into thinking you'll feel more ready later, but later never really comes." Sarah sighed and buried her face in her hands. "I guess that makes sense. But it feels so frustrating. I know I need to get this done, but every time I sit down, I freeze." Maya laughed gently. "That's the thing about procrastination, it's like quicksand. What if I don't do it perfectly, though?" Sarah whispered, her voice tinged with worry. "What if I mess it up?" Maya paused thoughtfully before answering. "That's the other side of procrastination, perfectionism. Sometimes, we're so afraid of not doing something perfectly that we'd rather not do it at all. But guess what? You don't have to be perfect. The first draft, the first attempt, it's allowed to be messy. The important thing is to get started. Once you do, you can always go back and fix things later." Sarah nodded, though Maya couldn't see her. "You're right. I've been overthinking it, haven't I?" "Exactly. It's like standing at the edge of a pool and being too afraid to jump in because you don't want to splash. But you can't swim if you never get in the water," Maya said with a smile in her voice. The next morning, Sarah sat back at her desk. Sarah realized that as she wrote, the words began to flow more easily. Sure, some parts still didn't make sense, and she knew she'd need to revise them later, but for now, she was making progress. The mountain she'd been dreading climbing suddenly didn't seem so steep. By the end of the day, she had written more than she expected. The project wasn't finished, but it was well underway, and that alone gave her a sense of accomplishment. She smiled to herself as she closed her laptop. After all, she realized, the key to overcoming procrastination wasn't waiting for the right moment. It was creating it. Let's learn some interesting words from the story. Rhythmically, doing something in a regular pattern or beat, like in music. Example, the clock ticked rhythmically, making a steady, soft sound every second. Entrusted, to give someone responsibility for something important because you trust them. Example, the teacher entrusted Sarah with the class project, knowing she would do a great job. Tidying up, cleaning or organizing things to make a place neat. Example, before her guests arrived, Sarah spent the afternoon tidying up the living room. Muttered, to speak in a quiet, unclear way, often because you're upset or talking to yourself. Example, he muttered something under his breath when he couldn't find his keys. Plopping, sitting or dropping down heavily and quickly. Example, after a long day, she plopped down on the couch and sighed in relief. Chuckled, to laugh quietly or softly, usually at something funny or light-hearted. Example, she chuckled at the joke her friend made, not too loud but with a big smile. Quicksand, a dangerous situation where the more you struggle, the worse it gets. Example, procrastination is like quicksand, the more you avoid the task, the harder it gets to start. Cringed, feeling embarrassed or uncomfortable, usually because of something awkward. Example, Sarah cringed when she saw her old photo from high school, she couldn't believe she wore that outfit. Dreading climbing, feeling worried or fearful about doing something difficult. Example, Sarah was dreading climbing the mountain of work she had left to do before the deadline. Grinned, to smile broadly, especially when you're very happy or amused. Example, he grinned from ear to ear when he saw his test results and realized he had passed with flying colors. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until then, keep shining bright with Storylight.